AH is Ali. Very good, sir. Very good. Excellent. Well, we're going to get started here. Looks like quite a few people have hopped on now. So I happen to be involved in a couple high-level masterminds where I spend time with experts that invest in real estate of all different strategies. And one of the strategies that I'm most attracted to is investing in notes. So I got a chance to meet my friend here, Eddie Speed, who is literally the note guy. He is the expert at notes. He's been doing notes probably before I got facial hair. So you can imagine he started a long time ago, and you can tell because he's got even more gray hair than I do.
Mm.
So you know that he didn't just start yesterday. Well, Eddie has probably bought thousands of notes by now, but also he's helped thousands of students to learn how to buy notes. So not only does he buy his own notes and his own portfolios, but he also helps other people and teaches them in a school called Note School. And he teaches them how to become a note buying expert and then helps everyone to get their notes going on and so on. So you're going to love this presentation. He's very intelligent and knows a lot about structuring these deals and how to find the right ones and so on. And he'll be able to really make an impact on you learning exactly what to do and how to do this. So I'm excited for all of you today. If he asks questions, please go ahead and answer in the chat. And then at the end of the chat, you'll have a chance to hop on his team's calendar for a consultation to find out more about how he can help you. Fair enough? Excellent. Without further ado, Eddie Speed. Let's give him a big hand, everybody.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we're gonna have some good times here tonight. You know what I'm gonna do is everybody can see my screen there and see my PowerPoint, right?
Yep, there it is.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we're really just gonna kind of paint a picture of really what I would say is we are in a market condition now that I would call a note cycle. And I started doing this a really long time ago, 1980. So Michael is correct. I'm an OG in the business for sure. And, there's rental cycles and there's note cycles. And right now, I believe the evidence tells us overwhelmingly that we're in a note cycle. Why is that true? How does that work? What causes a note cycle? What causes a rental cycle? Remember after 2008? How many of you have ever owned a rent house? Type in the chat, owned a rent house. What was the story of a rent house in 2012? It was too cheap, wasn't it? A rent house in 2012 was too cheap. Michael, I don't know what rent houses were in every area of South Florida, but people were buying those things at like outrageously low prices. You could buy a rent house for, 60 or 80,000 bucks and it would rent for $1,000 a month. That was more than 1% a month, right?
Exactly. We did that in Fort Myers. We were buying houses for 80 or 90,000 and the rent was, 1,100
Yeah.
over and over and over again. It was a great time.
So so what changed about the rental market was inflation. Now, the good news is your house went up, but the bad news is your net income went down. And so rental houses were making a very good return on money. By 2018, most rent houses in the United States were making about 8% per year. So if you paid cash for a rent house, $200,000, it was making about $16,000 net income per year. The same house today is netting about 4%. So if you could earn 9 or 10% or 11% on a note and 4% on a rent house, and the drama factor with a note is almost nothing, and the drama factor with a rent house, well, if you've owned them, you know what I'm talking about. It's pretty high, right? So that's why people do it. And this is kind of the cycle we're in. So I've been a long-time note guy. I started in 1980. That's not a misprint. I have been doing it for over 40 years. And it's not a misprint. I have bought over 50,000 notes. So that's been my career. And about 25 years ago, I decided to build a school and show people how they could buy notes. So I really built the school with a thought in mind is I could do business with people if I kind of taught them how to do it. You know what I found out about the school? The school is confidence. Now, everybody joins a school because they want information, information, information. But the truth of the matter is, what really causes an investor to buy something is that they have confidence in what they're doing. And so I built a school that helps people have confidence to go do this. Now, you're going to learn as we progress in this story that also I built kind of a done for you thing, and I help people with a lot of the struggles that they generally would face if they tried to go do the business on their own. So what we really did was became very good at helping people. We provided a lot of the back office so people actually could go do this business. So I have a note trading business and I have a note training business. So I help people find notes and I help people learn how notes work. So buying a mortgage note, what in the world does that mean? Well, how many of you have ever had a house with a mortgage on it? You paid the First National Bank of whoever, right? And they have a mortgage on your house. They don't actually own your house. They just simply have a mortgage against your house. So if you don't pay, they've got the first mortgage on your house. But think about what the bank does. They're not responsible for paying taxes and insurance and the plumber and the lawn guy, right? They just earn interest every month. And so if you were the bank and you owned a mortgage, you just get a payment every month, just like the bank that you've been paying, right? Now, the math is kind of crazy because today's market, you can earn about 3 times the income with the same money owning a mortgage that you can versus netting income on a rent house. And as crazy as that sounds, that's really where the market is. So right now, if you had a rent house, $250,000 rent house, it nets about $900 a month. That's what kind of the average is overall in the marketplace. But you could take $250,000 and you could own a payment of $2,700 a month, and that's owning a note. So people say, which is better? Well, I don't know what you think, but 27 is more than 900.
Sure is.
I think we get the point, right?
That's an easy one.
So this is why we say we're in a note cycle. So when I said earlier we're in a note cycle and you're trying to kind of connect the dots, you start seeing like the math kind of just screams. How about stress? Way less stress owning a note. Now that loan is serviced by a loan servicer and they've got the license and they have the accounting and they send out all the reports to the IRS and the borrower and they do all that kind of. You don't have to go do that. How many of you make a payment to a loan servicer? Well, if you have a mortgage on a house, I'll bet you almost anything you make a payment to a loan servicer. And that loan servicer may or may not be the servicer that owns the loan. In most cases, they're not. So if you make a payment to a loan servicer, Mr. Cooper or whoever, it's they don't own the mortgage. They're just servicing it for somebody else. So you don't. The thing is the great thing about this is that when you buy a note, you own the asset. How many of you have ever invested in apartments or storage or whatever, and you invested through some promoter that promoted a deal? You don't control the deal. You're just a little bitty piece of their pie, and you're betting on the fact that their investments turn out great and their management decisions turn out great. When you buy a note, you own the note. And you control the destiny of that investment. By the way, you don't have to worry about somebody else's bad management or bad mismanagement, right? So, what is this good for? What do you accomplish? Who is it right for? How about kids going to college? You build an income now and you can pay for their education. And there's some crazy good strategies that we've taught people using things like Coverdell educational accounts, like crazy good. Getting close to retirement, so you have passive income and you bolster your retirement, right? Uh, y'all know what the stock market's trading at? The stock market today is trading at very close to the stock price is calculated on 28 years of income for the company. That's what stocks are trading at. It'd take 28 years to buy the company. It'd take 28 years just to get your money back with no interest for what you paid for the company. Wonder if that's a little overvalued. Michael's an old stock trader. He might have an opinion about that. So those of you that are already retired, your money just works harder than 3% at the bank, right? So you own a first mortgage on a property, and so it's better than having your stuff in something that earns a lot less yield. Think of it in terms of this: you're making good money. You're doing something in life and you're making money, or you've got some investment money. The question is, where are you putting it? How many people's money is tied up in the equity of a rent house that isn't making them a dime? Michael, all your real estate buddies, that in the business, their houses went up in value and now they've got $100,000 or $200,000 in equity. But the truth of the matter is, if you ran out the math, that $100,000 or $200,000 in equity they have on that rent house, that money is stagnant. It is not earning any return on its investment, literally year after year after year.
And
And
they're breaking even every month because of expenses being higher and rent is, pretty much now at the top. They are breaking even. There's a lot of people that are not making any passive or positive income on their rental houses, and that's a shame.
So we have a big program where we help landlords with this problem with seller financing. But you're here today just to learn about being the bank, right? And it is a good investment. Now a lot of people ask me this question: Eddie, what happens if the loan defaults? What happens? Well, first of all, let me say something. We're going to help you set up. If you do this through us, we're going to help you with a loan servicer, right? And the loan servicer does essentially most of the work for you. People say, "Well, I don't know if I had a default, I wouldn't know what to do." I know, but your servicer does, right? How many of you change the oil in your car versus how many of you just go to the lube place and have your oil changed? Well, your oil needs to be changed in your car, but you don't have to go know how to change the oil in your car. Now, some of you like doing it, and that's cool, but I don't change the oil in my pickup. I mean, I kind of look at it like, I can make a little more money per hour doing something else than changing the oil in my pickup. If you do that, that's great. Nothing wrong with that. But I don't have to go know everything about changing the oil in my pickup to have it done. You don't have to know everything about servicing a loan to have it done. The typical note that we see, from what is owed on the mortgage to what the property is worth, there is a significant cushion, $50,000 to $100,000. So what that means is, we do not want to buy a note and hope that the borrower can't pay. I'm not going to teach you how to do that. I'm going to hope everybody buys a loan and hopes the best for the guy that owes them the money. But God forbid they stop paying, I'm probably going to make money. So, not that I want it, but I'm just telling you from experience, what we see is that usually becomes another profit center. Not that I want it. We try to buy loans with like a 1 or 2% chance of a default. It's a low percentage shot, and we underwrite kind of to that model. Worst case scenarios, you own the property and you have way more than what the property is worth invested in it. Your investment is way less than what it's worth. By the way, tell you a little secret. It's why the banks have been doing this for 200 years. Wonder why the bank is the tallest building in every town. Isn't that a weird thing?
Yeah, it sure is.
It's something about being this bank. And I know Michael's love for being a bank because he's owner financed a lot of these lots. So he
Yeah,
gets it.
yeah.
So we focus on owner finance notes. That's I've bought literally more than 50,000 owner finance notes. I have bought bank notes and I've worked on that, but I focus on I deal with professional real estate investors that create notes on a recurring basis. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour here in a minute and make you kind of see, like, it's kind of my thing. I'm very well known to do this. But I real estate investors, and you say, well, why in the world would they sell a note? And then the answer is they have to recapitalize. You know, the tank in their car only holds so much gas. They got to go refuel. And they sell notes to me in order to do that. And so we work with them in many different ways. And I try to help my clients that create notes. I help them make the best notes so that it's good for them and it's good for me. And if I sell you one of those notes, it's good for you. But this is kind of my tribe and kind of who I hang out with. So the sellers don't have unlimited money, and they just honestly they just have to go sell some of the notes to go do the next deal. That's why they do it. This is why it works. Now, I am a member of the top real estate investment masterminds in the country. That's me on stage at Boardroom. And that's a big group of guys that are like hot shot ninja guys in the real estate investing space. That's me on stage at Collective Genius. Like literally the top 1,000. That's me on stage at Investor Fuel last week, by the way. That was me on stage in Investor Fuel last week in San Diego. So yeah, I am the note guy amongst about 1,000 real estate investors. And so that's my audience, and that's who I do business with, and that's who I work with to go create good notes. And we have all kind of services and things that we do, help them with servicers and compliance and underwriting and all kind of things that we help make their business better. But then all of a sudden they need to go bring me those notes. They have to recapitalize. And that's kind of my gimmick. And you're going to see as this presentation unfolds, I help them and they sell me notes. And then I have people join Note School, and Note School, the guy says, hey, Eddie, can you find me some notes? And the answer is yes. And that's what makes the circle. All right. So what does a note look like? Well, we buy notes of all different sizes, and I sell notes to all kind of different people. So I do deal with hedge funds and big operations that I deal with on a daily basis. And so they have big money and they like buying bigger notes. And then I have notes that are smaller notes. So we have plenty of options of people that buy a note under $75,000. And so, I have notes that are bigger notes, and the hedge funds like those bigger notes. And a lot of our students like to buy a little of the smaller notes. So it works out well. We're not competing with each other. We're just filling in certain different parts of the box, so to speak. And the average loan to value ratio, meaning if we bought a note on just for easy math, I know don't draw in your mind today $100,000 house doesn't look good. Just easy math. If the house were worth $100,000, the average note we buy is about $75,000. So it's lucrative. And there is a big cushion, as we talked about. Now, here's the old country club bragging rights. Okay. Eddie, what's the yield? How much money am I going to make? Well, the average yield that we sell to our students is 9 to 11% interest. So if you're making 3% at the bank or 4% on a rent house, it sounds pretty good. Now, I'm not going to go way deep tonight into some strategies about leveraging, but let me just tell you this in closing. I will promise you, the people that go down the road with us, we're going to show them some of the coolest stuff that they could ever dream up. I'm going to show somebody how they could take literally $1,000 in a self-directed retirement account, and over time they could turn it into 100,000. So we've got some really cool techniques that we show people how to do in this business, that because you can buy this note and turn around and use a strategy and get part of your money back or most of your money back. And these are the things that we've done like really well in the business, like way better than anybody else that's taught this side of the business. And so it's pretty cool that we do it. And we just teach you how to start small, learn the process, and then you scale up. You know, first loan you buy, Dale, is not going to be 1,000 loans, right? I bought 1,000 loans at one time. Okay. That's not the first note you're going to buy. You're just going to buy one note. And then you're going to learn how to do some strategies. And then you're going to learn how to use other people's money to do work in the business. And then all of a sudden you get your money back and then you buy two more notes. And then you do that. Like that's how it works. And so this is what we're really good at, is showing a small investor, whether it's your personal investment or a self-directed retirement account, we literally show people how to go become the bank. Now, look, I started at 20 years old in this business in 1980. I was clueless. But my father-in-law that started me in the business in 1980, he taught me a strategy that I'm just simply teaching you. I'm teaching you how to do a lot of this and use other people's money to do it. And I'm teaching you, instead of having a rent house and a headache, I'm teaching you how to go have a first mortgage on a piece of property and have it serviced. And, you know, God forbid something go wrong. Okay, well, you know, that's probably going to make money too. And that's kind of what I do. So let's talk about the market, the money market. Well, average return right now in the money market's about 3%. You can put your deal in, you can put your money in riskier investments. But if you just go to the bank and say, bank, take my money, it's paying about 3%. And here's the thing. You got to remember that when your bank gives you 3%, they took your money and they go loan it out to somebody else at 8 or 9%. You ever think about that? They took your money and then just went and loaned it to somebody else and made more than double what they paid you to keep it in their bank. How would you like to be the bank? Huh. This being the bank starts sounding like a pretty good idea. You really don't have any control, and to be honest with you, you don't have a lot of upside. How many of you want to check yes in all those blanks? I want to give my money to the bank, earn 3%. They're going to take my money and loan it to somebody else. I really don't have any control over it, and I don't have a lot of upside. How many of you think we should check yes in every one of those blanks? Oh, yes, that's exactly what I want. Not really, huh?
Oh, not so nice. Not so
How
good.
about notes?
No. Yes, that's a different story.
With notes, you look over here and you can earn 9 to 11% interest. You got a first mortgage on somebody's house. You make the money. You're the bank. You own the asset. You're not investing in a fund. You're not betting on some syndicator. Some of that stuff hadn't worked out very good, Michael, lately.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And by the way, you're going to earn some bonus money if it pays off early. When you start learning more about this business, you're going to learn there's some hidden Christmas presents you didn't even know about, right? That's called mailbox money and bonus money in the mailbox, right? And so this is a pretty good little business. When you start looking at it like this is like, yeah, I don't get midnight calls from tenants, you know? I can go on the beach because the loans are being professionally serviced by a service company, and I don't have a day job, and I don't have a night job worrying about managing these things. So the thing I like about it is it's really it's really same safety, but it's really triple the return. That's pretty good. Let me ask you a question. Who makes more money in inflation times, the bank or a landlord? What happens to a landlord when he has inflation? Did you know since the virus, since COVID, that yes, rents went up, but expenses on the same rent house went up 2.5 times more than than the rents went up. So a rent house is netting less money than it was before the virus. So yeah, people say, yeah, but I raised the rent. Yeah, but there was a glass ceiling on how much rent you could raise. In fact, right now, rents are actually dropping. What happens to a bank in inflationary times? You pay less interest or more interest? Are you paying more interest now on a loan than you were paying back before we had inflation? So think about that. Like this is the timing for this is really when I started in 1980, it was the same story. I was just a kid. I was 20 years old, but I could see the writing on the wall. It all kind of made sense to me. Maybe it's making sense to you tonight. Now, once again, these returns are just for illustration. They're not guaranteed. I want to be really clear about that. Like I'm not trying to give you any kind of false hope. Obviously, you know that results vary depending on how good of business you're doing. Now, I'm wanting to help people do the good side of the business, right? Here's Doug Faust. He's a good guy. He, by profession, is a hospital administrator. He's the CEO, a hospital administrator. He's the CEO of a hospital. He's got all kind of hundreds of nurses and doctors that work under him. He is a busy guy during the day. He's got a family of four, and he says, "I'm not looking for a second job. No, 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 no. I don't want to go clean out houses on the weekend. I don't want to go sit up there and try to buy futures and go home and do all that on my computer. I'm not looking for a second job." He said, "Eddie, I'm just looking to be the bank." And he's discovered the power of notes. So here's Doug. Here's his beautiful family. Good guy. And he's gotten $7,000 net monthly passive income a month. He bought 9 notes, not big notes. He bought 9 notes, and he's got $7,000 a month in income. So his goal is to go eventually be able to retire when he wants to retire. He likes what he's doing. He's young enough. He's not wanting to quit right now. He's taking that money in notes, and then he's buying more notes with it. So he's just kind of reinvesting it. He makes a pretty good salary, and he doesn't need the money necessarily every day, but he could be retired and keep all that money. What would $7,000 a month do for you? Right? Maybe it'd be exactly what you want, and some of you'd want $15,000 a month. Some of you'd want $30,000 a month. He literally says, "Eddie, I spend 15 minutes monthly a month managing this investment. 15 minutes a month." It is passive. And he says, "I can sleep at night." He's got all kind of doctors that are his clients. They're invested in all kind of stuff, and they've invested in things where people didn't work out, and the guy wasn't quite the honest operator that they thought they were, and all those stories, right? And so he sees all these other stories, and he says, "I'm looking for a no drama zone. I'm just looking for a complete peace of mind. I want to have confidence that I don't have to fight this." So what I said to him was, I said, "Doug, you could have 55 rentals or 1,000 notes. Same level of work. So same work either way. How many notes would you like to own versus how many rentals? It's just that much less trouble to own a note. Literally. Let's talk about you. Are you a fit for this? Who are notes for? Who makes a good note investor, right? Complete beginners. When I first taught a school, I just simply taught you all that I had learned how to do. I could teach you how to find notes. I could teach you how to underwrite notes. I could teach you how to do this. I could teach you how to do that. And I knew all the mechanics of the business. We'd done thousands of notes. I'd been in the business over 20 years by the time I ever had a school. So we really knew how to do this well. We were good at it. We just taught people what we did. But you know what I found out? People don't want to do all that. So I figured out that I could take a complete beginner and make them successful in the business because I could go do a lot of things for them that was very difficult for them to go do themselves. So yeah, I can help complete beginners. I couldn't always help them, but I had a heart for my students and a heart for people doing this. And so it's certainly for frustrated landlords, right? We're very good at helping people get out of the landlord business. Busy professionals, Doug Faust, right? Retirees. I have a lot of retirees that we help get in the business, right? They want to sleep at night. They're not, I don't tell people, you're not going to take all your money out of the stock market and go drop it in notes. But what if you diversified? What if you took part of your money and put it into different things so that if the market went bad, it wouldn't slaughter you? A lot of people are kind of thinking about that today, right? It's good for anyone tired of trading time for money. When you have a job, y'all know what you're doing every day, right? You're trading time for money. You're giving them your time and they pay you a fee. They pay you something for it, a salary, monthly, they pay hourly, just a monthly salary, whatever it is. You're just trading time for money. You know what old Warren Buffett said, don't you? Warren Buffett said, if you don't find a way to make money when you sleep, you'll work until you die.
That's true, Eddie. That's true.
So you know what? That note earns interest every day. And it earns it whether you're on the beach in Florida or whether you're on vacation in Europe or you're playing with the grandkids or you're at your job. But that note is earning interest while you sleep. So people say, Eddie, how in the world could you help me? I like this. You said you could help me a little bit. What's that look like? Well, this is for people that are not looking to get really, like, you're not looking for a new job. You're not looking to go work 30 hours a week doing a new thing. This isn't selling Amway or Shackley, okay? This isn't a new gig. You're just looking for somebody to push you up and help you with this business so that you can spend more time doing something else. So what we have is a very guided program. Now, you can extend it past 60 days, but you don't have to. So you can stay in it long term. A lot of my people stay with me forever and they're very involved, and that's great. But you don't have to. You could just jump in and say, I want the 60-day guided program to get my first note bought. Bam, let's do it. You remember seeing the pictures of me at all those real estate masterminds? Y'all think that takes any time and energy? By the way, you know what it costs to be in one of those masterminds? It costs $25,000 to $75,000 per mastermind per year. Now, it's a great seat at the table, but it wouldn't work for somebody just to go buy a note or two. So what I do is I go and I pay the money and I spend time with those people, and then I buy notes for a lot of people like you. That's how I do it. There's no gimmick to it. It's just work. but I've figured out how to make it a win-win. I'm at it, make it win-win for my real estate investor buddies at the masterminds. I make it a win-win for my company. And yeah, I keep a lot of notes myself too. I do. And then I help people, like, we'll go help you find notes. And then we'll go through the process and say, we won't guarantee you this loan's going to pay, but we guarantee you it meets our seal of approval and we would buy this note. So now all of a sudden you can invest with confidence. Most of the training we do is just like we're doing tonight. Yep. You've seen me on stage live at these big events, but I'm going to be honest with you. Most of the training we do is virtual, just like we do tonight. We've been training for 25 years. We're pretty good at it. And we just train people how to go do this because we're teaching. What does it take to be in this business? Well, here's a picture of my computer right here. Y'all see it? That's my computer. I got to hook up to the internet. Now, I'd like to draw on my computer with my little pencil. So you may need a pencil. Well, I'm pretty much set up to buy notes. I don't need a lawnmower. I don't need a hammer. I don't need a library. That's what I need to go buy notes. And I have people from various countries. I have people that live all over the country, that live in different time zones, different situations. I got people from many foreign countries that buy notes, and the notes that we buy are here in the United States, but I have people in Canada and Israel and this place and that place. So and my back office really does a lot of the hard work. We find the notes, we run them through a very rigid filtering process and underwrite the loans. We manage the closing process and work with a platform where we put the notes up there and we send it out. Hey, Dale, here's a note. You like this one? Click the button. Dale says, oh, no, I like that one. Click the button, Dale. Dale says, no, I don't like this one. Okay, no problem. You don't have to buy that one. We'll have another one. That's how it works. And when I did that, I changed the success of somebody that joined Note School unbelievably. Because when I sent them out to do it, otherwise they had to go do all the stuff themselves. They had to go find the note. They had to underwrite it. They had to negotiate and buy it at the right price. All of that stuff. Well, that sounds kind of like a job, doesn't it? That sounds like something that you think, oh, you'd need to kind of have some experience to do that. You couldn't just do that if you were just a rookie. And so what we figured out is like, we're not rookies. We do this every day. We bought 50,000 notes in my shop. We're pretty good at it. And so what we figured out is when we could help our student with this, it then became the accelerator. So you can focus on whatever you're doing every day. You could be a lawyer, a doctor, an Indian chief, a school teacher, whatever it is. You can go focus on that every day, and we can help you in a way to go do the business. We use the school to give you the most important thing. Do y'all know what it is? You know, the most important thing about buying education, do you know what it gives you? Everybody got a pencil? Write this down. It gives you confidence. The most important thing that any education gives you is confidence. Now, with confidence means that you know what you're doing, you understand some processes, you understand some things, but at the end of the day, how many things do you do in life just because you can do it? And somebody says, man, how do you do that? And you say, because I know how to do it. I'm confident I know how to go do this. This is what people really need when they buy some kind of training. They need confidence. Now, the fact that we're supporting you a lot obviously helps with a lot of confidence. So let's talk about it. Option number one is you can figure it out yourself. You're saying, Eddie, I've got ChatGPT, baby. I got this. Ain't no problem. I can go click on Claude and go ask it how to go buy notes. Okay, I got it. Now, By the way, who taught Claude? There are things that I can tell you on AI today that tells you about buying notes that's wrong as rain, so to speak, as the expression goes, right? Somebody taught AI, they just didn't teach it right, right? So I'm not saying I love AI and I use it all the time too, but I'm just saying to you, it's, well, you got to go research and find these notes. Where would you find these notes at, right? I wonder if a beginner could make a mistake and buy something they shouldn't have bought. Or I wonder if somebody seasoned that it's been evaluating notes for over 40 years with a risk management blueprint that's really tight and follows that process on every loan that we put through our system. I wonder if that, I wonder about that compared to somebody, you know, you know what experience is? Everybody know what experience is? Experience is what you get when you're expecting something else. So you're hoping you're going to find the best deals. You're hoping you can break inside and do business with some of the people that Eddie's doing business with. I wonder if they'll sell you one little note or they'll go sell Eddie a package of 50 notes. I wonder which one would be easier for them to go do, right? And so that's where you can do this. I'm not saying you can't. When I started, quite honestly, I had my father-in-law and his partner, and they were my mentors. I don't believe I would have ever survived in the business without them. But I eventually learned to go do all this on my own. Now, it did mean that I worked a lot of day and nights, but I did it. And, or you could let us guide you, right? What about a 60-day path to your first note? What if you like started tonight and in 60 days, you had your first note? You had your first mailbox money coming in. We find the deals, we have an approval process. Just because we say it's good doesn't mean that you're committed to buy it, but we're going to show you very logically the underwriting process we went through to approve the loan. That's what gives you confidence. You know that we checked it all out and we can then explain to you very in intricate detail. We like this part about the note and we thought this was a good thing. Hey, this was a little bit of a negative thing, but this factor over here overrode that. And we can show you why we approved those loans. We've got a management blueprint, a risk blueprint. We know what a loan servicer requires to go board a loan with a servicer. We know what a closing process looks like. We know how to get the right paperwork. We know what needs to be recorded in the courthouse. We do the complete whole hand holding, and basically we have a back office that does the work. So you're just renting our back office, so to speak, so that you don't have to go build a back office yourself. What does that give you? Two things. We've already discussed them here today. It gives you time and confidence. So let's look at the first, what would it look like just to start out? Start out small and then start stacking it up. What would that look like? Step one, you buy your first note. Step two, you collect monthly payments. Oh, wait, by the way, you don't actually collect the monthly payments, your servicer does, and then they do an ACH and send them into your checking account. Use those payments to buy more notes. That's what Doug Faust does. You don't have to do it that way, but you can. Then you repeat, and the income grows. Every time you do this, you just keep growing the income. It's a rinse and repeat. Now, some people sell part of their payments to recycle their money and do it faster. You can recapitalize, and we show you how to do that. We show you various really cool strategies where you could pay $100,000 for a note, but then all of a sudden you could use other people's money, and maybe it'd be impossible that you'd have very little money invested in it by the time you did that. And we're going to show you leveraging techniques. Everybody I have learned, kind of with a driver's license, understand you could buy a rent house and get a mortgage at the bank to borrow money and buy a rent house. What we're going to show you how to do is how banks get their money back on notes, how they sell part of the note or they borrow money against a note. And we're going to show you exactly how that works. And when you see it, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is easier than borrowing money on a rent house. And your answer is it is. People just need to be taught. They just need to learn how that works. And when we show them and go show them where the hookups are and how that works and who can do that and what that looks like, they're like, oh, wow. You don't need a fortune. What you need is a system. You need a system. You need a system that somebody's been doing it for 4.5 decades, right? By the way, the same things that I teach you how to do doing this is what I do for myself. Like, I don't have a different plan for you than I do for me. I just show you my plan. I show you my system. So some of you say, well, how would that work if I had a colleague that I work with and on my first note? What if I worked with them? Is there a way to do that? So we're going to talk about this when you give us a call, and we're going to talk about these strategies where you could partner with a neighbor or a relative or your best buddy at the golf course or whatever that is. We're going to show you some ways to do it. And there's some ways to do it that you wouldn't want to do it because it might not be right, proper legal. But we're going to show you how to do it and some strategies that is really, really the right way to do it, to structure it legally and cleanly. So yeah, you could use somebody else's money to help fund your business. Look, I have access to Facebook. Okay. And I'm saying that I know there's people out there and I see them post on Facebook and I'm just learning about notes. And what should I know if I look for my first note? And I see stuff that they do. And let's be honest, right? It's about like a teenager's been driving a car for 2 weeks and they get on the interstate with 5 lanes wide, right? They probably are buying junk, they're chasing yields, and they're taking risks. In most cases, quite honestly, they don't even know they're taking risk. They're taking big risks that they don't even know they're taking. Now, I have a heart for that. 25 years ago, I built a school and says, instead of doing that, why don't you let us help you? We have a very regimented underwriting process, and I can say to you with 1,000% integrity, we do not buy junk notes. We don't. I don't buy garbage. And I find that people buy junk notes because they don't know what junk is, or they don't know there's risk to the deal that they wouldn't think about or they wouldn't know. You can go Google me on the internet. You can Google me on Bigger Pockets and all that stuff. I'm well known in the business. You know what the worst thing they say about me? You know what the worst thing they say about me on the internet? It doesn't say I don't know what I'm doing. It doesn't say that I'm cheating people. None of that. You know what they say? His stuff's expensive. You know what Warren Buffett said? People buy price until they understand value. Now, we've learned ways to make our training a lot less expensive than it used to be. So don't let me scare you. Our training is not some ridiculous price. So don't get spooked. But the quality costs more. And by the way, it pays more. And that's what I want people to do. I want people to say, Eddie Speed helped me get into notes, and it turned into be literally one of the best things in business I've ever done. That's what I want. That's what my desire is. So 40 plus years in business and 50,000 notes. And guess what? I'm still here. That probably should make a statement to you. How many people have stayed doing the same thing for 46 years? That ought to say two things. It might say something about me and our company, but it also should say to you, Eddie found a business a long time ago that he loved and it was very good to him. And he didn't go chase the next squirrel because this one was so good. Why chase the next thing? I've had literally countless real estate investors that have flipped thousands of houses and own rentals and all kind of stuff. And they tell me all the time, Eddie, the second you got me into notes, this is the best thing in real estate I've ever done. I've had countless people tell me that. So let's just do a little easy math. Okay. You invest $100,000. Well, if you have it in the money market, you're going to make $3,000 a year. If you have it in notes, on average, you're going to make about $10,000 a year. How much difference? Well, it's $7,000 more money. Which one would you take? 250,000, same thing, just more money. 500,000, just more money. If you had it in the money market, it'd make you, if you had $500,000 in the money market, it'd make you $15,000 a year. Does that kind of sound like chump change? For that much money? It does to me. If you have it in notes, it'd be a lot more money. Particularly if you could take part of that money and get your money back. Once again, we use this for illustration. It's not guaranteed. Results vary. All the disclaimers. You guys understand that some people do this wrong and they don't have as good a result as I'm describing. Doing it right matters. All right. So we have a promotion that we're doing and it's going to expire in September. It's going to expire at the end of September. And we do this in groups of about 10. And we have a group that we're working with right now. And we do this in groups of 10. And after September, the investment in this is going to be twice as much money. So we've used this as a little guinea pig program that we really hadn't done it quite this way before. And so we've made it a lot less expensive for people to go do business with us in Note School. And so as I said, we've got some spots that we're filling, and we're looking for, as the military says, we're looking for a few good men, right? And so this group that we have right now, they're going to get through the system way before the end of September. But you got a chance to jump in with a group right now that I will say that is the right group and the right network, and you'll find yourself in the inner circle. Here's how it works. You're going to you guys know how this works. You can take your phone and you can do the QR code, right? Everybody know how you just hold that up and do the QR code? And you're just going to schedule an appointment with my team. Okay. You can go here and you can just type that in your browser. Same thing. Here's what I'll promise you. I will absolutely promise you. You talk to my team, there's going to be no pressure and no obligation. We'll answer your specific questions. People are going to say, is this a fit for me? Or if it's this or that, do you think? And listen, if we don't think you're a fit, we're not fixing to put you in the system. I can tell you that right now. Like, we are not scrambling to go put people in the system that it's not a right fit for them. And we help them kind of go through that process. Call us and we'll find out if this VIP program that we've developed fits your situation. So it's pretty easy to do. And it's pretty easy to go figure out, like, are we a fit? Do we help you? What's that look like? So that's how it works. You're gonna hit the QR code and just schedule it. It's got a little appointment scheduler on there, and you're gonna be able to schedule with our team. And you're gonna be really impressed with my team. Very impressed with my team. And they're anxious and ready to talk to you if you like what we've said tonight. Let me ask you a question. Type it in the chat. Do you like being the bank? Do you like this idea of being the bank? Go type it in the chat. Does this sound like something you like? In a perfect world, if you could do anything that I've described tonight, how many of you like being the bank? How many of you want to go buy another rent house tonight?
No, thank you.
Right?
Oh my God, the aggravation. Oh, ridiculous.
All right, we'll leave this up for a minute so that you guys can do it. Any questions? I want to make sure that I've not leaving anybody hanging here on some question that's pressing to you.
We also posted in the chat for those of you that just want to click on the link. If you go to the chat, Matt, my right-hand man, posted in there the noteschool.com/Podgy, where if you can click on it, that'll give you the ability to get in there and get on the calendar as well.
Awesome.
So besides using the QR code, if you want to just click the link, it's in the chat.
All right. Love it.
Anybody have any questions for Eddie? I think that was amazing, Eddie. I mean, really informative. And I know for a fact that I've had experience with notes, but only on land. I never, ever got a chance to do what you're doing and become an expert at it. All I've done is vacant lot notes,
Well,
which is okay,
and
but
I do, and I do have customers.
They
Yeah,
don't pay
I
that
have
much.
customers that I buy lot notes from. I
Yep.
have some. I mean, I have guys that bring me those kind of notes. I buy
Yep.
notes on basically two things. I buy notes on houses, and I buy notes on land.
Yes.
And so, and once again, I deal in some bigger notes, but I usually sell those to kind of bigger guys like hedge funds and insurance companies and stuff. And then so they don't really love the little notes, and my smaller investors like the little notes. So it works out good. They're not competing with each other. We're just kind of, as I said, we're filling in the box, so to speak. All right, so you guys go to the chat if you have a question. I want to make sure I don't leave you hanging there.
So listen, opening up for questions. If you want to pop in the chat, or if you want to even unmute and say it out loud, either way, we're okay with whatever you choose.
Yeah, let's do that.
And if we need to unmute you, it's no problem. Type in the chat if you're not able to unmute yourself, but you're welcome to ask a question.
Let's see here. I was trying to go find the chat there. I've got my other screen up, and so wasn't letting me quite find it as easy as I was trying to.
Yep, I'm looking for you right now, just in case, and I don't see any questions coming in as of yet. Don't be shy, guys. This is how we learn. Feel free to ask.
Absolutely.
There's no such thing as a dumb question, and that's how I learned to become successful in real estate as well. Just asking questions like with guys like Eddie. Otherwise, you don't learn. There's no harm in asking questions. That's how you learn how to become successful faster. Otherwise, it's just too hard day to day from a business or from going to a job. Knowledge is power. So ask away. We got his time now.
Here's a good chat conversation. What'd you learn tonight?
Yep. So pop in the chat. What did you learn tonight? TJ Singh is a friend of mine on here. He said, sorry I missed earlier, but can we go through one note example? Can you give him a note example?
Yeah, so you have a $200,000 house, and one of these real estate investors sells it, and let's just say for easy math, they go get $30,000 down. That's about normal, 10 to 15% down. So they sell a house for 200 grand, buyer pays a down payment, and you have a $170,000 note, and it's usually payable over 30 years. And, the monthly payment on that deal is, close to $2,000 a month. And people go, oh, yeah, but it's 30 years. Well, see, here's the thing. These loans pay off early, and virtually none of them go pay out over 10 and 20 and 30 years. The average loan pays off in about 7 or 8 years. You make extra profit when it pays off early, by the way. And so the typical note that we buy, it while it says it's going to pay for 30 years, it really does. How many of you have ever just bought a house and paid for it and paid it out over 30 years? Well, there's some exceptions to that, but on average, you refi and get a loan at another mortgage company, or you sell your house or something triggering it. Like that's what really happens in real life. So these mortgages do pay off early. And so a typical note looks about like that. It could be a note on a lot, right? I've got guys that I buy land paper, and I've got guys that get 20% down, sell a piece of land to a guy with an 800 credit score, and they sell a piece of land for 60 or 80,000 bucks, and they go get 10 or 15,000 down, 20,000 down. And then once again, they owner finance it. Sometimes with land, it'll pay off a little quicker. So it'll have a bigger monthly payment because it's going to pay out quicker. Does that kind of answer your question? That a typical deal, that's kind of what it looks like.
And what percentage return do typically people make on a note in general? What's the range?
9 to 11.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's what you're going to make holding a rental property too. I mean, if that, I mean,
You're not going to make that on a rental. You could have in 2014, you could have made that kind of return.
Yeah, oh, it's too hard.
But right now, if you model a rent property, it's usually less than 5% interest per year. And net income. Like you can say gross income, well, you're not keeping the money.
Of course.
The thing about a mortgage, is you don't have any expenses. You're not paying for taxes and insurance and the plumber and the yard man. I mean, the mortgage company may collect your taxes and insurance, but that's not their money. They're just holding your money until they're due, and then they pay them. Yeah. And you just think about it, like it's pretty good deal when you get to keep that kind of money, and you don't have to do a lot for it.
Eddie, I've got a question here from someone that says, did you mention how much this program is, or did I miss it?
No, just talk to our team. We got some flexibility in how we'll work with somebody.
Excellent.
But it's designed to be very affordable, and it's designed to really, before I really figured out how to do a lot of this stuff and scale, I used to have to charge more money because it just costs more money to do it. Now we figured out how to kind of scale it. So just if you like the idea, go hook up and talk to our team. Listen,
Dale has a question.
It doesn't cost anything, right?
Eddie, Dale has a question. He says, how is that money earned taxed?
It's interest is ordinary income, and return of principal is you're just getting your investment back.
And now, if they do it in their IRA, and it's a Roth IRA, it's tax-free.
Yeah, and let me just tell you this. There's some tax hacks with buying and selling notes, and we're going to teach you that in coaching, and it's probably not. Michael, I'll bet you that we know some tax hacks with notes that you don't know.
I agree. That's why I'm here.
And so we're going to show people all kind of cool things that we've stumbled into after 45 years of doing it. So I see sometimes I'll be on one of these, Facebook groups or somebody and say, yeah, there's notes are great. Being the bank's great, but there's no tax advantage to it. And what I say to myself, I don't type this in the chat, right? Because I don't want to get into arguing with somebody on Facebook. I'm thinking like, no, there are tax hacks with notes. You just don't know them. And my people in note school know them. So don't feel like, Bill, that there's not some tax advantages with notes, because there absolutely are. So yeah, what we want you to do is pretty simple. Just have a conversation with us. Let's see if you're a fit. If we don't think we're a fit, we're going to, in the kindest hearted way possible, we're going to say, look, you're not ready for this. If you're a fit, then we're going to, and some people are a fit and they don't know that they're a fit or not. They don't know, well, this is what I've got, or I've got this much money, or here's my situation. And, and so they don't know whether they could make this work or not. And once we do that, then we're picking the right people that are going to be able to buy notes. We're picking the right people that we can serve. And we're going to do a good job of that. Let me tell you something. When I started in this business in 1980, I was living in a 10 by 40 mobile home that was about 40 years old. You know what I told my father-in-law? When I first sat down with him, he told me about this business, and he kept talking about buying notes and buying notes. And I said, his name was Mr. Shoemake. I said, Mr. Shoemake, this business sounds great. Problem is, I live in a 10 by 40 mobile home. I don't have tens of thousands of dollars in the bank. I can't go do this. And Mr. Shoemake said, you can't go do it because you don't know how. He was right. And he said, if you want to learn more about this, be at my office about 6:15 tomorrow morning. He was testing me. Y'all want to know where I was at 6:15 the next morning? Take a wild guess. I was at Mr. Shoemake's office at 6:15 the next morning, and Mr. Shoemake taught me how. And so I did this business for about 20 years. I did all kinds of stuff. I designed the note system for home investors, the ugly house guys. I bought a lot of the people that, like, you could find out some of the most recognizable people that created seller financing in the country, and you'd realize that Eddie's hand was on the top of how they did their business. And Mr. Shoemake taught me how. And so there was a sequence of things that kind of happened to me along the way. And I started realizing I could do a lot more business with a lot more people. But the problem is they need some foundation built around them so that they could go do this. I needed to teach them how. And so about 25 years ago, I started a school called Note School. And I started showing people how to do it. That's how it worked.
Eddie, I've got a quick question for you, if it's okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's say we want to set a goal for ourselves for passive income dollar amount. Like, for example, if I want to add on another 10,000 a month in my own passive income, what dollar amount in notes would I need to buy to get it? I know it's not going to be exact, but if you were to say, Michael, you got to put up 500,000 or 200,000, or how do I calculate approximately, not exactly, but if I want to have 10,000 a month in passive income coming in from notes?
Probably a little less than $1 million.
So let's say 900,000, give or take, correct?
Yeah. If you had, and that's for 30 years, by the way, if you bought shorter term, but you saw me do some math early in the training, and I said a $250,000 rent house nets about $900 a month. That's pretty accurate math in most parts of the country.
Yeah.
But a $250,000 note investment throws off $2,700 a month.
Yes. Now,
So,
is there any reason for me or anyone else to actually borrow money? Like, for example, let's say I have a line of credit and it's at 7%, and I've got some that are worse that are 9 or 10. In that case, wouldn't you agree that a 9 or 10% loan amount would not be a good idea to buy notes, but maybe 5.5 or 6 if I have some of those? What do you think about that?
So a major thing that Note School teaches people how to do is really 2 or 3 things. You don't need to go learn how to find a note. We're going to do that for you. You need to learn to follow the underwriting and the risk management, but you're not going to have to go be an expert in reading title policies and all of that stuff. And we're going to systematize it where it's pretty easy for you to say, yeah, that deal would meet my criteria. We're going to teach you what risk looks like and what good looks like. And you're going to be able to pretty easily identify it. So finding a note and underwriting a note is not something that you're going to have to worry about. But one of the things that we're really going to teach you how to do is how to go get your money back,
Okay.
how to recapitalize. And we are top shelf at showing people, because people are going to buy notes until they run out of money. And then when they
Yes.
run out of money, we're going to show them how to go recapitalize. And we're really, really good at that.
So again, I guess to summarize my question is, if I want to borrow money to do this, am I at a lot of risk or low risk if I want to borrow money at, let's say, 7 or 8% and do this? And then am I able to go ahead and repay back some of those loans where I'm not almost trading dollar for dollar, where I'm, making 9% on the note or 10, but my interest payment is, at 7 or 8. What's your thought? How can I still borrow money from all my lines of credit and still make it work?
You can borrow money.
Okay.
You can borrow money from individuals who want a little less return. Right now, IRA companies are sitting on more cash than they've ever sat on. And the
Yeah.
reason they are is pretty simple. And you know this because you and I both have trained for a lot of the IRA companies.
Yeah.
And the reason they're sitting on dry cash is they're kind of scared of the stock market.
Yeah.
And they used to do a lot more hard money lending, and they used to had rental properties and stuff. And right now they're backing away from that. They're looking for the next new thing.
Right.
And if you could show somebody, there's some strategies that we can do to show you how to you invest $100,000 in a note and get most all your money back. And
Okay.
I mean, like, and we've got banks and insurance companies that'll buy part of that. Or we show you how to go find with friends and neighbors and family, or somebody that has money in a self-directed retirement account. And we show you how to go find that guy. We
I
show
see.
you how to go even get a business credit card at little or no interest.
Yeah. Same thing too, Eddie, with people's 401k plan. I'm not sure how many of you on this call have a 401k plan where you work, but you're allowed to borrow up to $50,000 from your own 401k plan, meaning you're borrowing your own money and you're paying yourself back into your own 401k plan, usually like 5% interest or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can actually borrow up to 50 grand in your current 401k plan and pull it out, take it home, and buy notes with that. So that's a gold mine right there. To keep it in the stock market and to keep it in mutual funds and not pull some out to put it in notes would be really a shame, because
Well,
you need diversification. You can't keep it all in stocks and mutual funds just because it's a 401k plan. You don't have any other choice, but you do have some choices. And then what about for the people on this call that have an old 401k plan that's still sitting in a 401k when it should be rolled over to a
that's right.
self-directed IRA to buy notes with it? That's that simple. Some of you on this call still have an old 401k or have a current one. The old 401k plan, you can roll over all of it and use it for real estate. So there's so many opportunities to find ways to get this done.
Think in terms of this. All of this conversation is about one single thing. What is it we don't know that the guys in note school know because they've been doing it for decades and they've figured all this stuff out? And what is it I could learn from them that could change how I even thought about this? There's a saying, and I want to challenge you with it right now because we're fixing to close up. I want to challenge you. Dispel your disbelief. Because when Eddie Speed, making about $1,000 a month and living in a 10 by 40 mobile home in 1980, met Mr. Shoemake, I was full of disbelief. Mr. Shoemake, in a nice way, essentially said to me, Eddie, dispel your disbelief. Quit trying to figure out why this won't work, and let me show you how it can work. And so what Michael has been saying to you tonight is Michael's super sophisticated business guy, and he's saying you could do it this way and you could do it that way because his brain's already turning, right? He's thinking about how you could do this, and of course mine is too. And what we're saying to you is that what we want to do is start you down with a journey and show you how you can be the bank. And for a lot of you at the moment, you just you're thinking like, I can't be the bank, because when I was 20 years old, I was thinking I can't be the bank. Now I'm 66 years old now, and guess what? I know I can be the bank, and my kids know they can be the bank, right? All we've done is taken some things that, and developed a process and a system around it and show you the things that we've learned over the years. And then what we're doing is just say, let's start out with a phone call. Let's just start out with a phone call and we'll see. And if somebody says something, we're like, up, can't help them. I mean, and believe me, there's people that call us like we're very honest with them. We handle it in a very appropriate way, but we just say, you're not ready for this right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are ready for it that can do it in a way. Because what you just said, Michael, people have trapped money in things that they didn't even think about.
All the time. I mean, everyone thinks, oh, I got to have cash to do this. No, matter of fact, almost all of my investments are from a self-directed IRA,
Right.
and same thing with my investors. But also, most of my investors have rolled over their old 401k plans, or they actually went ahead and pulled money out of their current 401k plan, and they found money they didn't even think they had. Their,
Listen,
their
you
choice
can
is to put it in the
you,
stock market, and that's dangerous. That's gambling. It really is. It's total gambling.
you can you can have a rich uncle that would totally be willing to put some money up in a note deal and help you do it because it's such a safe, passive way to do it.
Yeah.
People love being the bank. Like, I mean, I'll bet you that if we went and sat down with every person on this training tonight, almost 100% of them would say, I'd love to be the bank. We're just going to show you how to be the bank. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are awesome. You are a great crowd.
One more
Michael,
question. One more question.
yes, sir.
Matt asked, what is the smallest size note and the largest typical price range per note is what he's asking.
So we have two ranges of notes. Probably 50% of the notes we see are less than 100,000, and then 50% of the notes we see, the average is 175,000.
Makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. So usually what we do, we have people that have a lot of money. As you said, they have big 401ks,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Now, that guy that I gave you an example of tonight, Doug Faust, he didn't buy a bunch of really big notes. He bought 9 notes that were totaled about $7,000 a month in income. So he didn't write some gigantic check. It wasn't like he wrote a check for millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So it, once again, we're out there looking for notes. Being in the industry a long time, Michael, you can appreciate the fact that sometimes people will bring me a portfolio of land notes and they already been paying for years.
Yeah.
They just need some money because they're going to go do the next deal, and I buy some smaller notes from them. I'm
Yeah.
working on a portfolio literally this afternoon. I think the average note in that was $40,000 or something, 38,000 maybe. So that's kind of what it looks like. Y'all like this? Everybody
awesome.
good?
Awesome, Eddie. Way to go. Great information. And a lot of people never heard of this and don't know how to do it. So I appreciate you taking the time out to help a lot of the people that are in my database here, my investors and friends as well. And I would love it if these guests here today could learn from you and become successful and maybe eventually quit their job when they have enough passive income to just finally say, hey, enough is enough. I'm done.
I've got countless stories of students that have done that. Literally countless stories.
Yeah.
And so at 66 years old, this is one of the reasons I still do it, is that I think that I've stayed in a business a long time, and I've been able to build a pretty good system around it. And I think I can have a big impact with people, and it's fun. Michael, you're a great host. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you for coming on and giving us all this great information. I'm excited. I would love to work with you, Eddie. So I'll reach back out to you on the next couple of days and see how I can, invest in your course and also your notes as well. I'm looking forward to working with you.
All right, sir. Great to see you.
Thank you,
Great
everyone.
to see everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt, for helping out. Appreciate all of you. And good night, everyone. If you have questions, please feel free to jump on and ask anytime. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good night now.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye for now.